So he goes straight over to the Rabbi, sees him coming out of the wagon. He says, Shalom Aleichem, father-in-law. So the father-in-law says, what are you talking about? He gets so angry, he realized, yeah, it's a real condition. He goes, how dare you be Mekadesh my daughter, believing these fools that she's their sister? And he gives him actually a slap across the face. Good Vach, everybody. Good Vach. This week we have a fun story. I think it's a fun story. It's about the Baal Shem Tov, and here it goes. So one time there was a chassid of the Baal Shem Tov, a follower of the Baal Shem Tov, and he was very young and he was still unmarried. And he complained to the Baal Shem Tov as he was leaving. He said, "I don't have a shidduch yet, and it's because I'm poor." He was very, very poor. This young guy, and no one wants to look at me seriously because I don't have any money. So Baal Shem Tov tells him like this: go on your way, and the first shidduch that gets suggested to you, you should accept. That's what the Baal Shem Tov tells him. So he goes, he goes on his way. Very optimistic, a very serious guy, and he stops off at an inn owned by a Jewish innkeeper, and he comes there and he sees a bunch of people sitting there. They're leidegers, as they say. Sitting there and talking, and don't have much to do with their lives. Some of them were, I think, workers over there, and they see some guy sitting there, and they get curious to ask him, "What are you here for?" So he tells them, "I'm on my way back from the Baal Shem Tov. I just got a bracha that the first shidduch that gets suggested, I should accept it." So these guys see they have an opportunity to make fun of this guy, to have a good laugh on his expense. But one of the guys says, "Oh, I have a sister. She is, I think he said she's a divorcee, and he said it's my sister, and let's go, let's do it." So now it wasn't even really his sister; it was the daughter of the balabais of the daughter of the innkeeper, and he was very well to do, this innkeeper, and they told her quietly, like, this is what they want to do, and she was all in on it. She was very happy to make fun. She thought it was a funny joke. So he accepts this shidduch, and they right away make a little ceremony.
I believe they wrote
Right, they did like here was their problem. They said, should we also do the wedding now? So they said, we have a problem because we don't know how to write a ksuba or t'naim. So he was a Talmud Chacham. This guy said, I know how to do it. So they started laughing even more at him. And this guy is totally oblivious. He's very serious. The Baal Shem Tov told him to do this. So he writes it, and they right away they put a chuppah. And he's mekadesh the girl, and the girl again, she obviously didn't know how the seriousness of it, and he goes and he puts on the ring. Now they don't realize that they're married, and they start. It says in the story, I don't know what type of people these were, but they started to like really belittle him and started to pull his hat either way, like play tug of war with his hat, meaning with his head. And they started to even hit him. It says, which again, I don't know. They thought he was some poor guy who they could, just enjoy his misery, enjoy making fun of him. And anyway, so he realizes what goes on and he runs away, and he goes and stays by a non-Jewish house. He goes by a non-Jew just for the night. Now the next day he comes back to figure out what he can do, and he's scared to go inside. He's afraid they're going to hit him again. These people. Meanwhile, he hears that one of the servants says, "Oh, well, the bias is coming back." So he goes straight over to the Rabbi, sees him coming out of the wagon. He says, Shalom Aleichem, father-in-law. So the father-in-law says, what are you talking about? Meanwhile, the daughter tells him everything that happened. She says, we had fun with him. We made a mock wedding yesterday. Who says? The daughter. Oh. The daughter tells the father. The father right away, he was, tell me exactly what happened. And she tells him exactly what happened. And
he would take $1 million, divorce my daughter.
No. And he's like, he gets so angry, he realized, yeah, it's a real condition. He goes, how dare you be Mekadesh my daughter, believing these fools that she's their sister? And he gives him actually a slap across the face. He is very angry. There's a bunch of makot happening in the story. And then he realizes, 1 second, if I ever want to get out of this guy, I should treat him nicely. I shouldn't hit him. So he starts to speak to him nicely and try to sweet talk him. And he says, listen, I'm ready to give you 20 rubles, just
divorce her.
Yeah. So he says, listen, I'm just listening to my Rebbe. It's the Baal Shem Tov. Let's go. And I was very serious. I didn't know they were joking around. So this is real Kiddushin. But I'm ready to go with you to the Baal Shem Tov. Whatever he says, I'll listen to. So he says, okay.
The girl has nothing to do with it.
Well, in those days, Not that they had no say, but a lot of it was done with, the parents, whatever. So basically, they go back to the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov says, let me speak to this Bacher alone for a little bit. Now, I don't know it doesn't say the story where the Baal Shem Tov spoke to him, but afterwards, after a while, the Baal Bas came back and he said, I'm ready to help you. This is what I want you to do. I want to find your daughter a true, the right person. But you also have to give this guy, you have to give him 1,000 ruble. In order to, because that's what he wanted.
For smacking him or the divorced daughter?
For everything, for him to divorce,
You play around with him, you beat him up.
Whatever it is, for him to get divorced, you have to give him 1,000 ruble, and I'm going to guarantee you a good chassan, and he's going to have 1,000 ruble, and that way, everything will be okay. You'll get it back. So he says, I'm ready to do whatever the Baal Shem Tov says. So he says, okay.
This is Innkeeper's father.
Yeah.
The innkeeper, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the girl's father. Innkeeper. So the Baal Shem Tov turns right away to the innkeeper after the innkeeper says, I'm ready to do whatever the Baal Shem Tov says. And he says, okay, so now this Bacher comes from a very, very important, very yichusdik family, right? He's good stock. Not only that, he has very good midas. He's a perfect person. The only chisar he has is that he was poor. But you just gave him 1,000 ruble. So now he's also rich. So now this was actually a shidduch min hashamayim. Take him back. And you should live, and he listened, and they actually ended up staying married.
Staying married or getting divorced and getting married again?
No, they stayed married.
The way I heard it was the fact that the innkeeper gave the money, and they didn't finalize the divorce. Like the paper, the sofa was writing the get.
Oh, okay.
And so the Baal Shem Tov snuck the bacher away, the newly married guy, and had him dressed very finely as someone who would have 100,000 rubles. And he brought him in as, someone to be there. And he had him sat down and talking, and the innkeeper realized this person has great midos. He didn't recognize him. Like, he had him all dressed up. So he looked like a completely different person. And the Baal Shem was like, so I know that the get didn't happen yet. But this person, so he's talking to him, one of my Talmudim, is this someone you'd be more interested in your daughter marrying? He said, absolutely. And the Baal Shem Tov took the get, tore it up, and says, that's the same guy. He says, he didn't have the 1,000 rubles before, now he has the 1,000 rubles you gave him. And the innkeeper realized the fact that it was just the surface value of seeing him look very poor, because he had he had a threadbare coat, and he just looked very poor, because he was very poor.
And they pulled out his hat.
And they pulled on his hat.
And he had a messed up hat.
It looked like 770 Tishrei.
Okay.
So if the girl has nothing to do with it, and the father was deciding everything, you have to talk yourself in.
Shenanigans, indeed. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining.
More importantly, smash that like button. Subscribe. We need people to subscribe to this channel. We need you to subscribe.
Thank you, Hanan. Thank you for the support. So everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week.
Smash.
What was that, Vadi? Yeah.
So, which camera am I looking?
Don't worry about looking. You're not looking anywhere.
Fine.
Looking at me.
Okay, fine. Much prettier than the camera.